we're looking like fools in this body. We are experts in this field. We represent among ourselves 1,500,000 IT professionals in the country. We know our business and we know our trade. And the rest of the people here act as if they know what they're talking about. And the problem is they don't know what they're talking about. They're just being led by this vendor, a foreigner, for that matter, whose nationality is not even a Filipino.
Matapos niyong bumoto, ipasok ang balota sa unang makikita ang
COMELEC's performance
na mayroong koneksyon.
Bautista says the poll bodies will...
If you're voting on an electronic machine, what do you know about that machine? Where did it come from? Who bought it? Who wrote the software? How was that software coded, right? When it was delivered from the company to a polling station, what happened when it was on the truck? Did the truck make a stop? Did somebody try to change the software then? Once it got to the polling station, did any of the polling officials interfere with it, right? Did they try to apply a magnitude? Did they try to change the code? Did they try to unplug it? Did they try to block the transmission of data? Any one of these issues along the way completely could invalidate an election.
The sad part about our election system now is that it is a very esoteric discussion. Meaning if you are not conversant in IT terminologies, terminologies that pertain to encryption, it is very difficult for the common man to understand what is going on.
The election system now, okay, is not as secure as one anticipates. That's why we have so many more protests now. Can you imagine there's one from the vice presidency, for the senatorial, for congressional? In fact, it was stated that there are more protests now than ever before.
They promised us an automated election system that we can trust. The problem is, hindi nila tunupad lahat yun. Kaya we have a very questionable automated election system.
We were consulted when they formulated the Republic Act 9369, which is on the automation of the elections. To make sure that the system is secure, we place in several safeguards. Okay, which by the way was not followed by COMELEC. And when we asked Smartmatic, the answer during the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee is they allowed us.
Ang mga balota ay ipinapasok sa mga VCMs o vote counting machines na matatagpuan sa bawat presinto. Mula sa mga VCMs ay tatlo ang pinagpapadalhan ng resulta ng halalan. Una, ito ay direktang ipapadala sa mga Municipal o City Board of Canvassers o MBOC at CBOC na matatagpuan sa munisipyo o City Hall. Mula rito ay ipapasa naman ang mga resulta sa Provincial Board of Canvassers o PBOC at mula sa PBOC ay ipapadala ang provincial results sa National Board of Canvassers o NBOC na matatagpuan sa Batasang Pambansa o Kongreso. Pangalawa, mula sa VCMs ay direktang ipinapadala ang resulta ng halalan sa Transparency Server na matatagpuan sa Pope Pio Center sa Manila. Ito yung nakikita natin sa TV na unofficial results. At pangatlo, direktang ipinapadala ito sa COMELEC Central Server sa PICC kung saan mayroon rin silang sariling bilangan.
Bakit hindi tinupad? Unang-una, tinanggal nila yung 4 na major security features ng automated election system. Hindi nila sinunod yung digital signature, hindi nila sinunod yung voter receipt or voter verified paper audit trail, hindi nila sinunod yung ballot security, at hindi nila sinunod yung source code review.
They forgot to tell us about the Meet Me room. They forgot to tell us about AWS going to another country. And they forgot to tell us about a queue server.
Mula sa mga VCMs ng bawat presinto ay dumaan ang mga boto sa isang queue server sa halip na direktang ipapadala ang mga resulta ng mga MBOC o CBOC, Transparency Server at COMELEC Central Server. Ang queue server na ito ang sumasala sa lahat ng resulta mula sa mga VCMs. Ang queue server na ang siyang nagpapadala ng mga resulta sa Municipal o City Board of Canvassers, sa Transparency Server at sa COMELEC Central Server. Ang mga encrypted results files na ipinadala ng mga VCMs ay dapat selyado at walang sino mang nakakakita ng laman nito. Pero ayon sa pagsusuri ng mga eksperto, hiwa-hiwalay at nabuksan na ang mga results files na ito nang matanggap ng destination servers o paroroonan nito. Nagkaroon rin ng mga regional hubs na hindi kasama sa napag-usapang election system. Hindi ito sumailalim sa anumang testing o security review na nakasaad sa ating batas.
Binigyan mo nga yung bahay mo ng early warning device, meron kang CCTV camera all around. Pero iniwan mo naman yung pinto ang bukas. So kahit ang dami mo security features na nilagay, pero iniwan mo yung bukas yung pintuan mo, kahit na sino pwedeng pumasok undetected. Kaya yun ang sinasabi namin, ganun na nangyari sa eleksyon. Maraming ang security measures na nilagay sa batas, hindi naman sinunod.
So the question is, there is such a queue server.
There's a queue server.
And called queue server is part of the transmission services.
So there is.
Yes. Yeah, if you want to call it, there is a system.
How come nobody saw it, anticipated it, or noticed it? Sir, can we just ask the Smartmatic, sir, to explain? Because I really cannot explain why that happened.
It's just like a zarzuela. It's a moro-moro. It's a show that's scripted, that even their answers are way out of line, and they wouldn't given those who are in authority, those who are more seasoned experts, to give light to what they're explaining.
Is there an en banc resolution of COMELEC allowing foreign access? The terms of reference for the AES, Your Honor, includes the provision of a secure platform. And one of the most secure platform available would be the Amazon Web Service, which in fact even the DICT and the Bureau of Customs subscribe to them.
Just to be clear, the DICT has very strong rulings on using Amazon. In other words, data as such as the election data is very, very critical information, and the DICT frowns on any such data going abroad. So I don't know how it happened that Amazon was permitted to host this. That's why there are servers in the DICT, sir.
We were very firm in stating that the Philippines' data, due to data sovereignty, should not go abroad. Because you never know what happens when it goes abroad. You are not in control of it.
Ang audit logs ang nagsisilbing logbook ng vote counting machines. Dito makikita ang tala ng lahat ng mga naganap sa VCM na iyon. Pati date at time ay detalyado ang record nito. Mga impormasyon tungkol sa makina, ang machine MAC address, machine physical ID number, precinct ID number at location, application version, framework build version, sinong kasapi ng Board of Election Inspectors ang nag-log-in, mga diagnostic tests, mga balotang ipinasok sa makina, mga errors ng makina, oras ng pagbukas at pagtapos ng botohan, pagbilang ng mga boto, pagpirma ng hindi epektibong digital signatures, pag-transmit ng mga resulta, pag-print ng election returns, at hanggang sa pagsara ng makina. Parang logbook na minomonitor ang lahat ng pangyayari sa makina. Ang election returns naman ay ang tala ng bilang ng lahat ng boto di umano na pumasok sa makinang iyon.
There's a process, whether you like it or not. The system automatically stamp marks an audit log, the date, the time, and the identification of the machine. Now, that thing that would show you the jump would also raise the red flag and says, why is it not sequential? Time and again, we've been saying all of this information, all of these discoveries already subject for digital forensics, even as way back in 2010. And it's still happening to this day.
Ang decrypted ballot images ay ang selfie ng balota. Ito ay ang mirror images ng paper ballots natin. Ito ay dapat faithful reproductions o makatotohanang kopya ng ating balota. Walang labis o kulang. Pagkapasok sa VCMs ng ating balota, agad itong kinukuhanan ng litrato sa ibabaw at sa ilalim. Ang picture images na ito ay mapupunta sa SD cards na nakalagay sa makina. Ang sequence numbers nito ay naka-assign na rin at dapat ay magkasunod-sunod ito. Kumbaga, ang unang magpapasok ng balota ay siyang magiging image number 1. Ang pangalawang botante naman ay si image number 2, and so on. Ibig sabihin, kung mayroon 100 botante ang presinto A, ang last file numbers na dapat ay makikita sa SD card ay image number 100.
In the case of precinct number 40 in Pili, Camarines Sur, nawawala yung ballot image sequence numbers 1 to 40. If I remember, it's 57 to 63, 78 to 83. All in all, ang nawawala in Pili, Camarines Sur would be 155 ballot images. But then we found out that the ballot image sequence numbers reached 767. Then these missing ballot images were tampered with, and they were added at the bottom. That is why the ballot sequence number did not end at the maximum ballots that were cast at 612, but naging 767 siya. From 612 plus 150, 767. That's why it added 613, 614, 615, 616, 617, because it could not go back anymore to number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, until number 40, because those numbers were previously assigned already.
The square is the square is to facilitate the visual determination of how the machine appreciated the ballot, the votes, or the shape.
But the COMELEC never announced to the entire world that there will be squares in the scanned images.
It's part of it was shown during the source code review. We showed that. It was available then. It was also reviewed by the SLI. We didn't hide that functionality, Your Honor.
Was it mentioned that there will be possibility?
No, we were not apprised of any information that there will be an insertion or a deletion on the image. Based on a review, that image should be a complete, faithful reproduction. There should be no alterations. If there's any insertion or deletion of any image on that image ballot, that would render that image questionable, because you have now the ability to edit. And if we had seen that in the source code, we would have objected to it immediately. Please.
The law provides for an optical scanning of the ballot inserted.
Correct.
So no alteration can be made. If the design of the BCM to the SD cards allows the COMELEC to insert anything there like a square, they can also insert any kind of shade.
Yun ang aming kine-question, yung mga squares. Pag ikaw ay kumuha ng picture sa iyong telepono, yun nakita mo yung mukha mo, merong picture frame? Wala. Di ba? Kung ano yung kinuha mo, yon. Ganon din ang optical scanner. Pag iyan ay in-insert mo doon, kung ano yung nakita sa papel, yung papel, bilog lahat yun eh. Di ba? Paano nagkaroon ng square? Ibig sabihin nun, either bago ipinasok, nilagyan nila ng square, or kung pumasok na, ni-manipulate nila electronically yung resulta.
If you took a picture and you stored it and encrypted it, if I added one element like a square, for instance, the digital signature and the file will never match.
If you go back to the manual environment, they really attested who is the signatory of those documents. Then they bring them to court. In this case, it's all machine generated. And machine by law is not recognized by the Constitution. They're just a mere machine, a mere robot. So there's no way in hell that you would use the decryption of a program to be the final result. It has no value.
I will also show proof that the decrypted ballot images are not faithful reproductions of the paper ballot. The one on the upper left is a photocopy of the paper ballot, the physical paper ballot, Your Honor. I don't know if you can see it, sir, but if you can actually look at the original, meron ho siyang oval. Napipick up po ng photocopier, the lowly, humble photocopier, napipick up po yung oval. sa tabi po ng pangalan ng kandidato. The lower right, Your Honor, is the printed decrypted ballot image. Yung similarities, yung sa top is the same ballot precinct number at the bottom. So pareho po yan. The original, as photocopied in the SET again. Now look at the difference. Ang original may pirma, ang ballot image wala po, malinis po. Now the other one is, yung boto po dun sa taas, wala pong square, pero sa baba may square na po. There's an extraneous mark, the introduction of the extraneous mark.
If I was in my old IT job in a bank, and I was to be audited by the central bank for my data center, if this is what they saw, you would be fired automatically. I would have lost my job if this was the kind of work that I showed a professional IT auditor. I would have been fired on the spot.
Sa automated system, just like in the e-commerce law, kailangan may digital signature. Ano itong digital signature? This has a public and a private key. Yung public key is para ma-access ng public. Yung private key ay para dun sa nagpadala lang ng message.
Ang digital signature is parang yung password mo sa ATM.
Pag kayo ay pumunta sa ATM ninyo, naglalagay kayo ng card ninyo, ano yung public key doon? Yung iyong account number. Alam ng bangko yun. That is a public account. Ano yung private key? Yung password mo. Ikaw lang ang nakakaalam para kahit na nalaman ng bangko yung public account mo, hindi nila makukuha yung pera mo. Ikaw lang ang makaka-withdraw. Pag tinanggal mo yung digital signature na yan, pwede ka magpadala kahit sa anong makina. Kasi walang identification mark eh. Sinabi nila meron daw silang nilagay na machine digital signature. Yun yung kanilang mga I-button. Who controls the I-buttons? Smartmatic and Comelec.
The one that knows the password is Smartmatic. The one that knows your password is also Comelec. But more importantly, the person is provided the password that they will use to use it. So, kahit sino, galing sa Comelec at Smartmatic, pwedeng gamitin ang password na yan and they will be able to duplicate the whole system and your signature.
He who holds the key, he who knows the passwords, can manipulate the system.
It's not just because the Comelec should not comply with the law. Let me refer back to Batas Pambansa 881, the Omnibus Election Code. The act of the Board of Election Inspectors to sign the election returns is not only a ministerial task, it is a manifest. So their act there is a constitutional act. In an automated environment, you have to issue that digital signature to that Board of Election Inspector that will testify this is the person, it's himself or herself. Not just a machine, not just a program code, because then you define the purpose of suffrage. Because remember, we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So the sovereignty emanates from the people. So in other words, if we're going to run our sovereignty, everything has to be done by the people, and those who will vote and those who will count must be the people, not a machine. The machine is just a tool. Now, if you're going to surrender our sovereignty to a machine, then that increases our vulnerability.
Ang EMS o Election Management System ay ang puso at isipan ng automated election system. It produces the SD cards that run the VCM. Any SD card it produces, even manipulated ones, can run the VCM and produce legitimate results.
Kasi nagkaroon ng bagyo doon sa area na yon, nung sometime in December. Kaya may mga ballot boxes talaga na yan ay basa.
Ayon kay Election Officer Alex Escape, naroon siya nang kunin ng PET ang mga ballot box. Imposibleng nabasa raw sa kanila ang ilang balota dahil meron silang certification na in good condition ang kunin ng mga ito.
Kinarga yung mga ballot boxes doon sa dalawang truck. Mainit nga ang panahon, tinakpan pa yon ng mga trapal. Wala namang irregularity.
Kahit basa yung balota, hindi problema. Dahil sa meron tayong ballot images. That is the beauty of an automated election.
po ng aming telepono si Attorney Glenn Chong, election lawyer. Magandang umaga, Attorney Glenn Chong.
Sir Erwin, magandang umaga sa inyo at sa mga nakikinig.
Alam mo, kahapon, nung ginigisa ka na nitong si Senador Drilon,
yes, sir.
Ako'y parang naawa sa'yo at the same time parang ako'y na-guilty dahil ikaw ay lagi kong tinatawagan patungkol dyan sa recount na yan.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to the point na expose na, di ba? He was already telling something na there's something going on, yung nangyari with Smartmatic and Comelec and all that, right? Ang lumalabas doon, parang hindi masyado binigyan ng importance. Ang kini-question pa nga yung credibility ng resource person. Ito, expose na merong cheating sa elections, para bang there's a hand na actually independent naman bawat media organization, pero parang there's a thing going on like, shh, okay. If you ever write this quietly and wag masyadong i-play up. Parang something is going like that. I know because I'm in the media.
I see no reason as to why a hybrid system would not be more compatible with our country.
A hybrid election system to me is a good system because it shows transparency.
Many countries, advanced countries like Germany, Netherlands, they've gone back to manual counting. In Germany, sabi nila unconstitutional because the person does not know how the vote was counted. Ganon din dapat tayo. Ibalik natin ang pagbabasa at pagbibilang sa presinto and then you automate the transfer.
To stop this kind of cheating, which is wholesale automated cheating, we have to make sure that the counting is public. In Smartmatic, wala kang makikitang boto na binilang. Pero dito sa sistemang hybrid, kitang-kita mo kung paano binilang ang boto mo.
Ibalik mo sa manual ang pagka-count at pag-a-appreciate ng ballots. Ito ang sinabi sa akin ni Senator Coco. Sayang naman, nabili na yung mga makina, nabayaran na, sayang naman yung perang nagastos doon. Ang tanong ko, what do you price democracy?
Sa halip na 10 bilyong piso ang ibibigay natin kay Smartmatic, bigay mo yan sa mga guro natin. Because the money that we give to our teachers will flow back to the economy. So mas maraming pera ekonomiya, mas maraming benepisyo ang bayan natin.
We have to fully understand why Smartmatic has been kicked out of many countries. Yet, in the Philippines, we're so believed sa kanila. There's new technology out there, and I'm saying, why are we so held up by Smartmatic?
I understand that there's a lot of noise being made because you don't like the prospective beneficiary of this ongoing protest. However, I would enjoin people to take a look at the facts. Sadly, what goes on is that it becomes a shouting match between one party and the next. And in so doing, both sides are shouting at the top of their voice, and the facts somehow fall into the cracks.
This is beyond Bongbong Marcos and Leni Robredo because there will be more elections to come. Kailangan, it has to stop. This is the first time, very first time na we found out na ganito pala kung hindi na-expose. Unfortunately, hindi lumalabas sa mainstream media.
This is really about suffrage. Dapat yung boto ko, yan lang, that's the only thing I have to hold that can help answer my future, the future of my children.
It's only during election time that the poor and the rich have equal inalienable rights to select their leaders. Therefore, give back the power to the people.